It started on a day that seemed like any other, but nothing was ordinary anymore. She had been living in a quiet settlement on the edge of human territory, far from the bustling cities, where the air was clean and the fields stretched wide under. The sun, her child, played nearby, chasing a small ball across the dirt path, laughing freely. They had little, but it was enough food on the table, a roof over their heads, and a sense of safety. Or at least they thought it was safe. Then, without warning, the sky changed. It was not the soft blues of the morning or the golden hue of sunset. The clouds twisted unnaturally, almost as if they were alive. A deep rumble shook the ground beneath their feet. Birds scattered, screaming, and the wind carried a strange metallic smell. Before they could even understand what was happening, shadows fell across the fields. Huge, dark shapes moved through the air, faster than any aircraft humans had ever built. In moments, their world turned upside down. They were surrounded. Alien figures, taller than humans and covered in armor-like skin, descended from their ships. Their eyes glowed faintly, reflecting an intelligence that felt cold, calculating, and utterly alien. She grabbed her child, holding him close as the creatures approached. Their hands, long and clawed, reached for them without hesitation. Fear was immediate, sharp, and paralyzing. But even in that fear, she found a small flame of courage. Her child was terrified, clinging to her, and she whispered to calm him, even though her own heart pounded so hard it felt like it would burst. She did not understand what these creatures wanted. Maybe they were soldiers. Maybe they were explorers. Maybe they were monsters. But she knew one thing: they were not friendly. The aliens didn't speak in words she could understand. They emitted sounds, clicks, hisses, and low, resonating tones. But their intentions were clear. They were taking her and her child. They moved with precise efficiency, surrounding them and lifting them off the ground with a strength she could barely resist. Her struggle was useless against their sheer power. As they were carried toward the alien ships, she looked around at her home, the small huts, the fields, the quiet life they had built. It would all be gone in moments. Tears stung her eyes, not just for herself, but for the child in her arms, whose world had just been shattered. She whispered softly, trying to calm him, "It's okay. I'm here. I won't let anything happen to you." Inside the ship, the environment was unlike anything she had ever seen. The walls were smooth, reflecting dim light that seemed to come from nowhere. Strange symbols pulsed faintly, and the air smelled faintly metallic, sharp and cold. They were placed in a holding area, a kind of cage that hummed with energy. The child clung to her tightly, pressing his small face against her chest. The aliens observed them, tilting their heads and making noises that seemed to express curiosity. They had clearly never seen humans up close like this, and yet they did not appear afraid. Their expressions, or what passed for expressions on their faces, were inscrutable, almost unreadable. She realized that fear, to them, might be meaningless. Hours passed, or maybe it was minutes. She could not tell. Time seemed to stretch and twist in the alien ship. The child eventually grew tired, curling into her arms and falling asleep despite the strange sounds around them. She watched him sleep, marveling at his innocence and resilience. In a strange way, his calm brought her a moment of peace. She promised herself silently that she would protect him no matter what. Then she overheard the aliens communicating among themselves. She could not understand the words, but the tone was urgent, excited. From what she could see, they were preparing something, a ritual, or perhaps a punishment. One of the aliens gestured toward a larger area, where shadows moved. It made her stomach twist with dread. She could not see clearly yet, but the size of the creature in the shadows hinted at a danger unlike anything she had ever faced. The fear came back, stronger this time. Her body trembled, but she refused to show it fully. She held her child closer, whispering to him as if her words could shield him from the looming threat. "Stay close to me. Don't be afraid. We will face this together." Finally, the doors to the larger chamber opened. The light revealed a massive creature, unlike anything in human history. Its body was armored with plates that gleamed faintly under the alien lights. Its eyes glowed with intelligence, but also with a raw, predatory hunger. The aliens called it their war beast. It had been trained to obey, to fight, and to destroy. And now they intended it to destroy them. She felt her heart freeze, her breath caught in her throat. Every instinct screamed for her to run, to fight, to protect her child, but she was completely powerless. The aliens moved her forward, toward the edge of the pit where the creature waited. Her child stirred in her arms, sensing her tension, but not fully understanding the danger. The war beast stepped closer. Its claws scraped the metal floor, sending sparks flying. Its teeth glinted under the light, sharp enough to crush bone in an instant. She held her child tighter, ready for the worst, but also waiting, watching. There was something in the creature's eyes, something beyond hunger or instinct, something that made her hesitate, even for a moment, to believe there might be a sliver of hope. The alien stepped back, gesturing for the creature to attack. But the war beast did not move aggressively. Instead, it paused, sniffing the air. It tilted its massive head, almost as if it were curious. The mother's heart raced. She did not understand what it meant, but she felt a strange connection, a flicker of possibility in the creature's gaze. Her child, sensing her change in mood, looked up at her. She smiled faintly, trying to convey that there was no danger in that moment, even though she had never been more afraid. "It's okay," she whispered. "We are together. That's all that matters." And in that moment, the war beast did something no one could have predicted. It lowered its head slowly until its enormous nose was inches from the child's hand. The child reached out instinctively and touched the soft, warm surface. The creature did not move. It did not growl. It did not snap. Instead, it seemed to exhale softly, a sound that was almost a purr. The aliens froze. They had never seen this. Their commands were ignored. Their war beast, trained to destroy anything they put in front of it, was refusing to attack. The mother watched in disbelief as the creature's posture relaxed, no longer threatening, no longer monstrous in her eyes. For the first time since they had been captured, she felt a spark of hope. She held her child close, letting him feel the calm, and whispered, "See, we are safe, for now at least." She did not know why the creature had chosen not to harm them. Perhaps it sensed something in humans that no alien could understand. Perhaps it remembered an instinct buried deep in its nature. Whatever the reason, it gave her the courage she needed to face the unknown moments ahead. She did not know how long this peace would last. She did not know if the aliens would try again. She did not know what the future held. But in that instant, she realized something that would stay with her forever. Even in a galaxy full of dangers, humans had a spark of resilience, a quiet strength that could survive against impossible odds. And as she held her child, watching, the war beast's massive eyes watching them in return, she made a silent vow. No matter what came next, she would not allow fear to control her. She would protect her child. She would survive. And she would prove that even in a universe ruled by power and aggression, the human spirit was something that could not be tamed. The moment the war beast refused to attack was like a pause in time. The aliens around them froze, unsure how to respond. Their eyes, glowing faintly, darted from the mother to the creature and back. They exchanged rapid gestures and clicks, their voices rising in anxious tones. It was clear they had never expected a human to survive, let alone have the war beast respond differently than it was trained to. The mother hugged her child tighter, feeling his small body tremble against hers. He looked up at her, his eyes wide, with awe and a hint of curiosity. Even in the face of danger, his innocence shone brightly, reminding her of why she had to stay strong. She whispered softly, "It's okay. See, nothing is happening. We are together." The war beast shifted slightly, lowering its massive body to the ground, as if to show it meant no harm. Its eyes followed the mother and child wherever they moved, never blinking too quickly, as though it were trying to understand them. The mother noticed the subtle way it breathed, almost gently, as though it recognized life in a way the aliens could not. She realized, in that moment, that fear alone could not explain this behavior. There was something deeper, something almost instinctual connecting humans and this creature. The aliens, however, were growing impatient. They gestured again, louder this time, commanding the war beast to attack. Their voices had a harshness that made the mother's stomach twist, but the creature did not respond. Instead, it lifted its massive head and stared at the aliens. Its body tensed, not in aggression toward her, but in warning toward them. The aliens recoiled slightly. They had never seen the creature disobey, let alone protect its captives. A sudden realization hit the mother. If this creature could feel something akin to choice or recognition, perhaps it could be reasoned with, at least in its own way. She had no idea how to communicate, no words that could cross the vast gulf between species. But she knew one thing: fear would only make her child sense danger. Calmness might give them a chance to survive. She took a deep breath and slowly crouched down, still holding her child, placing a hand gently on the war beast's massive snout. The creature's enormous eyes studied her, but it did not flinch or move away. Her child, curious and emboldened by her confidence, reached out and touched the beast's nose again. The war beast exhaled softly, a deep rumble that felt almost like a sigh. The mother felt a strange warmth in her chest, a mix of relief, wonder, and determination. The aliens murmured among themselves, their confusion growing. Some stepped back, unsure of what to do. Others tried again to issue commands, but the creature's loyalty, or perhaps its instinct toward the humans, was unshakable. It positioned itself protectively, moving so that its massive body formed a barrier between the humans and the alien soldiers. The mother realized something extraordinary. She and her child were not just surviving. They were, in a way, commanding respect from a creature that was built for destruction. And this was not because of fear, or weapons, or cunning, but because of a quiet courage and a bond that seemed to exist without words. Time passed slowly. The aliens tried to study the behavior, but the war beast did not follow their commands. Instead, it remained close to the mother and child, its eyes scanning constantly for any threat. Every so often, it let out low rumbles, almost like it was communicating in a language the mother could not understand, but somehow she felt the meaning. It was a warning. Stay back. Do not come closer. She shifted slightly, keeping her child close, and whispered, "We will be okay. You just need to stay calm, and we will get through this." The child nodded, though his tiny hands gripped her tightly, and she could feel the tension in his little body. She knew that if she stayed strong, he could feel safe, even in the middle of a world filled with unknown dangers. The aliens, growing desperate, began to consider their next move. They had powerful technology, superior numbers, and weapons designed to control any creature. But the war beast ignored all of it. It had made a choice, and it would not be swayed. The mother realized, for the first time, that humans had an unpredictable quality, something the aliens could not anticipate or control. Even in the most hopeless situation, humans could inspire courage, calm, and connection in ways that defied logic. Minutes, maybe hours, passed. The mother began to notice small details about the war beast. Its eyes softened when the child touched it. Its massive body, though built for killing, moved carefully around them, as if it were aware of the fragility of human life. She could see intelligence in the creature, not just instinct. And more than that, she felt a sense of respect growing. Between them, a silent understanding that they were not enemies. She spoke softly to her child again. "See, he won't hurt us. He knows we are not a threat." The child looked up at her, eyes wide with wonder. "Mom, he's friendly?" he whispered. She smiled, nodding slowly. "Friendly, yes. And he is helping us." The aliens could not understand this. They were frustrated, angry, and confused. Their war beast had never refused a command before, and certainly had never protected captives. They barked orders, waved their hands, and even made threatening movements, but nothing worked. Each failed attempt only confirmed that the humans had something unusual, something that even the war beast recognized. The mother began to notice that the war beast was not just passive. It was actively defending them. Whenever an alien tried to approach too closely, it would shift its massive body, blocking the path. Its claws, sharp and deadly, scraped the ground as a warning. Its eyes glinted with intelligence and determination, not cruelty. And with each movement, the mother realized that they were safe, at least for the moment, not because of weapons or luck, but because of this unexpected bond between humans and the creature. As the hours passed, the mother began to wonder about the origin of this creature. Was it always like this? Had it ever shown kindness before? Or was it the humans who inspired it to act differently? She did not have answers, but she felt a sense of hope she had not felt in a long time. She had survived, and her child was alive, and together they had somehow earned the respect of a being far stronger than themselves. The aliens, growing desperate, decided to retreat for a moment. They conferred among themselves, their glowing eyes flicking nervously toward the humans and the war beast. It was clear that even with all their power, they could not control the situation. They seemed to realize that the humans and their bond with this creature were something beyond their understanding. In that moment of quiet, the mother allowed herself to breathe fully for the first time. She hugged her child close, feeling his warmth against her chest. She whispered, "We are stronger than they think. We always have been." Her words were simple, but they carried a weight of truth she hoped the child could feel. The war beast shifted slightly, nudging them gently, with its massive head, as if to reassure them. The child laughed softly, a sound full of wonder and relief. It was a small victory, but an important one. In a world ruled by alien power, they had found safety not through fear, but through courage, patience, and understanding. The mother realized something else, something profound. Humans were not just fragile beings to be captured or controlled. They had resilience, intuition, and a quiet strength that could touch even the fiercest of creatures. And in this moment, she knew that whatever came next, they could face it together. She looked into the war beast's glowing eyes, and for the first time, she felt a connection that transcended language, species, and fear. The creature was no longer just a monster to be feared. It was a protector, a guardian, and perhaps even a friend. And in a universe that seemed determined to see humans as weak or expendable, this bond reminded her that humans had power in ways that others could not imagine. The aliens, watching from a distance, could not comprehend it. They had expected terror, chaos, and destruction. Instead, they witnessed calm, courage, and an unspoken trust that defied all their assumptions. And though the mother did not know what the future held, she felt a growing sense of determination. Her Child nestled against her, sleepy but safe, and she whispered once more, "We will be okay. No matter what happens, we have each other, and that is stronger than anything they can throw at us." And in that quiet, tense chamber aboard the alien ship, a new reality had begun. Humans were not just prey. They were beings capable of inspiring loyalty, courage, and even love in the most unexpected places. And this realization, though silent and unseen by the aliens, would shape everything that was about to come. For the first time since their capture, she felt the spark of hope. Not the fragile, fleeting hope that disappears at the first sign of danger, but the deep, unshakable hope that comes from understanding one simple truth. Humans, even when small and seemingly powerless, could change the course of events in ways that no one, not even a war beast, could ignore. The moment the war beast fully accepted them was unlike anything the mother had ever imagined. She could feel the subtle shift in its massive body as it positioned itself closer, moving with careful precision so that no harm could reach her or her child. Its eyes, glowing faintly in the alien light, seemed to study them with curiosity and an almost silent understanding. She realized, with a mix of awe and relief, that the creature was no longer a threat, it had become a protector. She hugged her child tightly, feeling the small heartbeat against her chest, and whispered, "See? He's not going to hurt us. We're safe for now." The child, still wide-eyed with wonder, looked up at the war beast and giggled softly. It was the first sound of happiness they had made in hours, and the mother allowed herself a quiet smile. In that moment, surrounded by alien technology and looming shadows, she felt a tiny spark of hope. But hope alone would not get them through what was coming. The aliens, frustrated and confused, began to act with increasing urgency. They barked commands at the war beast, waving their arms and making high-pitched noises that the humans could not understand. Some of them approached cautiously, trying to figure out a way to regain control. Others hovered back, clearly unsure of what to do next. It was as if the very air had shifted. The rules they had always relied on no longer applied. The war beast ignored the commands entirely. Instead, it shifted its massive weight, planting itself firmly between the humans and the aliens. Its claws scraped against the floor with a sound that was deep and terrifying, yet strangely reassuring. The mother could feel the vibrations under her feet, but instead of fear, she felt a growing sense of security. This creature, which had once been a symbol of death, had become their shield. She looked down at her child and saw the small fingers reaching out to touch the war beast again. The child's courage amazed her. Even in the face of immense danger, he trusted her, and now he trusted the creature as well. The mother whispered softly, "Be careful, but it's okay. You can touch him. He's on our side." The child nodded, and she felt pride in the little human spirit that had refused to break, even under impossible circumstances. The aliens, growing desperate, began to consider other options. Some of them activated small devices, glowing with energy, that might have forced the war beast to obey. But each time they tried, the creature reacted not with violence toward the humans, but with a warning. Its roar echoed through the chamber, deep and resonant, shaking the walls and causing the aliens to step back. For the first time, the mother realized that humans were not helpless, at least not in the way the aliens believed. The war beast moved its massive head, nudging the mother, gently, almost as if it were guiding her. She followed instinctively, adjusting the position of her child in her arms. Every step she took was cautious, careful, but filled with a growing confidence. She realized that the creature was not just protecting them physically, it was teaching them, in a way, to trust their instincts and remain calm in the face of fear. Minutes passed like hours. The aliens tried again and again to command the creature, but each attempt was met with resistance. It became clear to them that the humans had done something extraordinary. Somehow, the mother and her child had inspired loyalty in a being that no other creature had ever tamed. The aliens exchanged anxious gestures, their glowing eyes flicking nervously between the humans and the creature. The mother took a deep breath and spoke softly, though she doubted the aliens could hear her. "We have to stay calm. Fear will only make things worse. But if we stay together, maybe we can find a way out of this." She looked down at her child, whose small eyes were fixed on her face. "Do you understand?" she asked. The child nodded, his tiny hand clutching hers, and she felt a wave of relief. He was listening, and that gave her strength. Then a new challenge appeared. A second group of aliens entered the chamber, moving faster and more aggressively than the first. They carried devices that hummed with energy, clearly designed to force obedience from the war beast. The mother's heart raced. She held her child closer, instinctively shielding him as the aliens advanced. The creature growled, a low and rumbling sound that reverberated through the floor. Its eyes glowed brighter, and it shifted its massive body to block the path. The aliens tried to advance. Anyway, but each step was met with resistance. The war beast did not attack them outright, but its sheer size and strength made it impossible for the aliens to get close without risking serious injury. The mother realized, in awe, that this creature was not just a protector, it was a warrior, defending them without causing unnecessary harm. It understood the human's fragility and acted accordingly. She whispered to her child again, "Stay close. Do not let go of me. We can do this together." The child obeyed, his small hands gripping hers tightly. She felt a surge of determination. Humans had always faced dangers that seemed impossible, and they had survived through courage, intelligence, and resilience. Now, in this alien chamber, she understood the truth of that resilience more clearly than ever. The war beast, sensing the mother's calm determination, responded with even greater focus. It moved to create a barrier between them and the advancing aliens, its massive claws scraping the floor with authority. The mother felt the vibrations beneath her feet and realized that even the most advanced alien technology could not overcome the bond they had formed. It was a bond built on trust, courage, and a recognition that humans were not just weak creatures to be controlled. As the aliens hesitated, the mother began to notice something extraordinary. The war beast's eyes, glowing faintly, seemed to soften whenever her child reached out to touch it. The child's small hand, innocent and unafraid, seemed to have a calming effect on the creature. It was as if the war beast recognized something in humans that no alien could understand, a quiet strength, a spark of courage, and a capacity for love that transcended fear. The mother whispered again, "See, you can trust him. He won't hurt you." The child nodded, and she felt a sense of pride and wonder. Even in the middle of a hostile alien world, they had found a way to connect with a being far stronger and more dangerous than themselves. And in that connection, they had found safety, hope, and the beginning of something incredible. The aliens, growing frustrated, tried to regroup. They shouted, waved their arms, and even tried to use devices that might control the war beast, but the creature was unmoved. It had chosen a side, and no force the aliens could muster would change that. The mother realized that humans were unpredictable in ways the aliens could not anticipate. Their courage, calm, and empathy had done something extraordinary. It had tamed a monster, not with weapons, but with presence, trust, and courage. The mother held her child closer, feeling the warmth and heartbeat of the small human next to her. She whispered softly, "We will survive this. Together, nothing can break us." The child smiled, feeling the truth in her words. The war beast, sensing the quiet confidence between them, nudged them gently, as if acknowledging that they were allies. The aliens, observing this, could not understand it. They had expected chaos, panic, and destruction. Instead, they were witnessing calm, courage, and a connection that defied all their assumptions. The mother realized that they had changed the rules of the situation without even trying. Humans had a power beyond weapons or numbers, a power that inspired loyalty, courage, and protection in even the most fearsome creatures. Hours passed, and the tension in the chamber remained high. But the mother felt something growing within her, a deep, unshakable confidence. Humans had survived impossible odds before, and now they were surviving again. She looked at the war beast, whose massive head rested near them, and whispered, "Thank you. You're helping us." The creature let out a low rumble, almost as if acknowledging her words, and she felt a sense of wonder and connection that went beyond fear. She realized, with growing clarity, that this moment would stay with her forever. Humans were not just fragile creatures to be captured or destroyed. They had courage, resilience, and a quiet strength that could inspire even the most fearsome beings. And as she held her child, watched the war beast protect them, and saw the confusion and frustration of the aliens, she knew one thing. They had already begun to change the outcome of this encounter, not with weapons or cunning, but with something far more powerful: human presence, courage, and heart. The mother hugged her child tightly, feeling his small body against hers, and whispered once more, "We are stronger than they think. We always have been." The child's small hand rested on her arm, a silent confirmation of trust and connection. And in that moment, surrounded by aliens, technology, and danger, she understood a simple truth. Humans were never truly powerless. They could inspire, protect, and survive in ways that no one, not even the war beast or the aliens, could fully predict. The chamber fell silent for a moment, the tension thick but shifting. The war beast remained between them and the aliens, its massive body a shield, and its presence a declaration. And though the mother did not know what the next hours or days would bring, she felt a quiet confidence growing within her. Humans had survived before. They could survive now. And as long as they stayed together, as long as they trusted themselves and each other, nothing could take that away. Time seemed to stretch in the alien chamber, and the mother could feel it. Every second was filled with tension, yet there was a quiet rhythm in the chaos that gave her strength. The war beast stayed close, its massive body forming a protective barrier, and the child nestled against her, sleepy but calm. Sensing that they were not in danger, or the creature remained near, the aliens, however, were no longer simply frustrated. They were starting to panic. They had never encountered a situation like this before. Their war beast, trained for obedience and destruction, was ignoring commands and actively defending the humans. They tried every method they could think of: gestures, sound commands, even energy pulses designed to control the creature. But nothing worked. The war beast stood firm, watching them carefully, its glowing eyes showing a combination of awareness and warning. The mother could see the confusion in the aliens' posture and hear it in their clicks and hisses. They began speaking to one another rapidly, gesturing and pointing toward the humans and the creature, clearly debating what to do next. She realized that they were trying to make sense of something they had never seen before: humans influencing. A being of such raw power without any weapons or technology. She held her child closer and whispered, "We have to stay calm. If we show fear, it could make things worse. But if we stay together, we can handle this." The child nodded quietly, his small fingers gripping her hand tightly. She looked down at him and felt a wave of admiration for his bravery. Even at such a young age, he was staying calm and trusting her guidance. The war beast shifted slightly, lowering its massive head, as if to reassure them. The mother realized something profound. The creature was not just reacting instinctively. It was observing them, understanding them in a way that went beyond simple survival. Every small movement, every breath, every gesture mattered. And the humans, mother and child, were conscious of that too. They were communicating silently, without words, in a language of trust, calm, and courage. The aliens continued to argue among themselves. Some gestured angrily at the war beast, while others pointed at the humans, clearly trying to understand why their commands were ineffective. The mother realized that they were beginning to suspect something extraordinary. The humans were not just lucky, they were doing something intentional. They were influencing the creature with their presence, their courage, and their calm determination. She took a deep breath, steadying herself. "We have to keep moving carefully," she whispered. "The war beast will protect us, but we can't make sudden moves that could alarm it. Stay close, listen to me, and we'll find a way through this." Her child nodded, trusting her completely. The mother smiled faintly. Even in the middle of danger, that trust gave her hope. The war beast, sensing their focus and calm, moved slightly forward, guiding them toward a safer area in the chamber. Its massive claws scraped against the floor, but it never touched them directly. Instead, it created a buffer, a protective shield that allowed the mother to feel almost normal in an unnatural place. She realized that humans had a power beyond what the aliens could measure, a power of presence, intuition, and calm strength that could influence even the strongest creatures. Hours passed in tense silence. The aliens, increasingly desperate, tried new approaches. Some activated larger devices, glowing with energy, designed to control or intimidate the war beast. Others hovered back, unsure of whether to approach or retreat. The mother watched them carefully, holding her child close, and whispered again, "Don't be afraid. We are safe. Trust him." The child leaned against her, feeling the warmth and strength of both his mother and the creature. The war beast's eyes glowed brighter, and it shifted its massive body to block any potential threat. It was as if it understood the humans' intent. It recognized that they were not dangerous, that they needed protection, and that it had a duty to defend them. The mother realized that this was not just instinct. The creature had chosen a side, and in that choice, the balance of power had shifted. The aliens tried to test it further. One of them approached cautiously, carrying a small device that hummed with energy. The war beast let out a low growl, vibrating through the floor, and the alien froze. The mother could feel the energy in the room, the tension thickening like a storm. But the war beast did not attack the alien. It simply moved to block the path, standing firm and protective. She whispered softly, "See? He's just protecting us. He won't hurt anyone unless we are in danger." The child looked up, eyes wide, and smiled faintly. For the first time in hours, there was a feeling of quiet relief. The war beast's presence was not terrifying. Any more, it was comforting, reassuring, almost like a guardian watching over them. The aliens, growing frustrated, began to consider retreating. But even then, they observed the humans with a mix of fear and fascination. They could not understand how these fragile beings, without weapons or advanced technology, had gained the loyalty of such a massive and dangerous creature. It was as if humans had an unpredictable strength that no alien power could control or suppress. The mother realized something important in that moment. Humans had always survived against impossible odds. They had done so through courage, intelligence, and empathy. And now, in the heart of an alien chamber, she could see that truth in action. The war beast had become a symbol of that resilience, a reminder that strength did not always come from size or weapons, but from heart, courage and connection. She held her child close, feeling the small heartbeat against her chest. "We are stronger than they think," she whispered. "Stronger than any weapon, stronger than any beast, stronger than anyone who doubts us." The child, sensing the weight of her words, hugged her tightly. Together, they felt a quiet but powerful certainty. They were not helpless, and they were not alone. The war beast seemed to sense the change, too. It lowered its massive head closer to the humans, almost like it was acknowledging their courage. Its eyes softened, glowing with intelligence and awareness. The mother realized that humans had not just survived. They had formed a bond with a creature that no one else could command. And that bond was unbreakable, built on trust, empathy, and courage. The aliens, observing from the distance, could only watch in growing disbelief. Their attempts to control the situation had failed repeatedly. They could see now that humans had a power they could not measure, a force beyond technology or fear. Even the war beast, a being designed to obey and destroy, recognized it. The mother understood that this realization would change the way the aliens viewed humans forever. Time passed, and the tension in the chamber began to shift. The war beast maintained its protective stance, but it no longer roared or growled unnecessarily. It seemed calm, confident, and fully aware of its role as guardian. The mother felt a sense of relief, but she did not let her guard down. She knew that anything could change and that they had to stay alert, calm, and united. She whispered to her child again, "We will get through this. Nothing can break us as long as we stay together." The child nodded, his small hand resting on hers. She felt a deep sense of pride and wonder. Even in the middle of danger, humans had found a way to survive, not through weapons or force, but through courage, trust, and connection. The aliens, sensing that they had lost control, began to retreat slowly. Some of them hovered near the walls. Others exchanged hurried gestures, and all of them watched the humans and the war beast with a mix of awe and fear. They realized, finally, that these humans were not ordinary. They had something that no alien could take away, an inner strength that could influence, protect, and survive against impossible odds. The mother held her child close, feeling the warmth of his small body against hers. She whispered once more, "We are safe for now, and we will stay safe because we have each other and we have him." She gestured gently toward the war beast, who remained close, watching over them with unwavering loyalty. The child smiled faintly, understanding without words that they were not alone. And in that moment, the mother understood something truly remarkable. Humans were not just fragile beings to be captured or destroyed. They had resilience, courage, and an unpredictable strength that could inspire loyalty, calm, and protection in even the most fearsome creatures. And in that realization, she felt a quiet confidence that no alien force could take away. The chamber fell into a tense but quiet silence. The war beast stood between them and the aliens, a massive living shield. The mother hugged her child tightly, feeling the small heartbeat against her chest, and whispered, "No matter what happens next, we will survive. We have each other, and that is stronger than anything they can do." And in that moment, humans and creature alike had changed the course of the encounter. The aliens had begun to understand, in their own way, that humans were not to be underestimated. They were resilient, brave, and capable of inspiring loyalty in beings far stronger than themselves. And as the mother held her child, watching the war beast protect them, she knew that the impossible could happen not through weapons or power, but through courage, heart, and the quiet strength of humans. After hours of tense observation, the aliens began to realize that the humans were not ordinary captives. Their calmness, courage, and the way they interacted with the war beast had revealed something no alien had ever expected. It was clear that the creature's behavior was not random. It was deliberate, protective, and filled with a loyalty that the aliens could not comprehend. They began discussing quietly among themselves, pointing toward the humans and the war beast, trying to piece together the mystery. The mother held her child close, feeling his small body relax slightly against hers. He had been quiet for a long time, absorbing the tension in the room, and now, sensing the calm from both his mother and the creature, he began to show curiosity instead of fear. The mother smiled faintly, whispering softly, "It's okay. We are safe. Just stay close to me." She realized that even in the middle of this alien world, the child's trust in her gave them both strength. Suddenly, one of the aliens stepped forward cautiously, holding a device that looked like it could scan and read information. The mother's heart raced. She did not know what it was capable of, but instinctively, she moved slightly in front of her child, shielding him with her body. The war beast growled softly, a deep rumble that vibrated through the floor. The alien froze, unsure of what to do. The mother whispered to the child, "Don't be afraid. Stay calm. Everything will be fine." The child nodded, trusting her completely. She looked up at the war beast and realized how extraordinary it was that a creature so massive, trained to kill, could show this level of understanding and protection. It was as if the human's courage and calmness had awakened something long dormant inside the creature, a recognition that humans were not prey, but beings deserving of respect and care. The aliens, noticing the bond, began to communicate more. Urgently, they gestured at the war beast and then at the humans, clearly trying to understand the connection. The mother observed silently, realizing that their confusion was a form of opportunity. If she and her child remained calm, they could continue to guide the creature's behavior, and perhaps even influence the alien's understanding of humans. As the scanning device hovered closer, the war beast shifted slightly, positioning itself so that it blocked the path of the alien. Its glowing eyes focused intently, warning the alien not to advance. The mother felt a surge of awe. The creature was protecting them without aggression, without violence, simply by its presence and its awareness. She realized that humans had inspired loyalty in a being far stronger than themselves, not through force, but through trust, courage, and calm determination. Minutes turned into hours. The aliens continued their attempts to analyze the situation, but every effort was met with the same resistance. The war beast's loyalty remained unshakable, and its movements were precise, protective, and intelligent. The mother held her child, whispering soft words of reassurance. "See, he's here to protect us. Nothing will hurt us while he is near." The child's small fingers touched the creature gently, and in response, the war beast let out a soft, almost affectionate rumble. The mother's mind began to wander, thinking about why the creature had behaved this way. She realized that it must be something deep within its instincts, something the aliens had never understood. Perhaps the creature had been designed, long ago, to recognize humans in a way that no other species could. Perhaps it remembered an ancient connection between humans and these beings that had been lost to the aliens over time. Whatever the reason, the mother felt a deep sense of wonder. Then, something remarkable happened. One of the older aliens, a figure whose presence commanded attention, began to approach slowly. Unlike the others, this one moved without anger or force, with a measured calm that seemed to study rather than command. The mother watched closely, unsure of what would happen. The war beast tensed, but it did not move aggressively. Instead, it observed. Its massive head tilted slightly, glowing eyes locked on the approaching alien. As if it were assessing the situation, the alien reached the edge of the protective circle and paused. Then it spoke, in a low tone, in a language the mother could not understand. The war beast's growl softened, almost as if it were listening. The mother held her child, whispering softly, "Stay calm. Trust him." The child, sensing her confidence, nodded and leaned against her chest. The alien seemed to understand something profound in the human's presence. Its gestures became slower, more deliberate, almost reverent. It motioned toward the war beast, and then toward the mother and child, clearly signaling a recognition of the bond that had formed. The mother realized that the aliens were beginning to understand a truth that they had ignored for centuries. Humans had an influence that went beyond technology, beyond force, beyond fear. The older alien stepped closer still, holding out a device that seemed to be a recording or scanning tool. The war beast did not move aggressively. Instead, it allowed the alien to scan the humans from a safe distance, standing protectively, but without attacking. The mother felt a strange mix of relief and awe. Even the most powerful alien presence had to respect the connection that humans had inspired in the war beast. The child, curious, reached out to touch the war beast again. The creature responded gently, leaning its massive head slightly toward the small hand. The mother whispered softly, "See, he understands. He knows. We mean no harm." The child smiled faintly, and she felt a deep sense of pride. Even in the middle of danger, even in a room full of beings far stronger than them, they had found a way to survive and connect. The aliens began to murmur among themselves. Their glowing eyes flicked back and forth between the humans and the creature. They clearly had no answers, and yet they were beginning to recognize the power of human presence and courage. The mother realized that they were learning something important, something the humans themselves had always known. Strength was not just measured by weapons or size, but by heart, courage, and the ability to inspire trust and loyalty. Time passed, and the chamber grew quieter. The war beast remained near them, a living shield, and the mother held her child close, whispering words of reassurance. "We are safe for now. He will not let anything happen to us." The child leaned against her, feeling the warmth and protection of both his mother and the creature. For the first time, there was a sense of calm, a pause in the tension that had dominated the room for hours. Then, one of the aliens began to speak to the others in urgent tones, pointing at the war beast and then at the humans. The mother did not understand the language, but she could sense that something significant was happening. The aliens had realized that this was not just a normal creature. It had responded to them in a way that no one else could replicate, and they were beginning to understand that humans had awakened something in it, a recognition, a loyalty, a bond that could not be forced or broken. The mother looked down at her child and whispered, "Do you see? Even they are beginning to understand what we already knew. We have strength inside us that no one can take away." The child's small hands pressed against her chest, and he nodded, eyes wide with awe. Together, they felt a quiet sense of power, not through violence or weapons, but through courage, calm, and trust. Hours passed, and the aliens continued to observe. The mother realized that they were studying humans in a new way, trying to understand how a small, seemingly fragile species could inspire such loyalty and protective behavior in a creature designed to obey only them. The mother smiled faintly, holding her child close. Humans had always survived against impossible odds, and now they were showing it once again. Finally, the older alien stepped back, signaling to the others. It was clear that they were beginning to accept the reality. The humans had changed everything. The war beast would not be controlled by alien commands alone. It had formed a bond with them that was stronger than fear or force. And in that realization, the mother felt a surge of hope. She whispered softly to her child, "We are stronger than they ever imagined. We always have been, and now they will see it too. The child smiled, sensing her confidence, and she felt a deep sense of pride and wonder. Humans, small and seemingly fragile, had survived again. Not through weapons, not through strength, but through courage, heart, and the quiet power of connection. The war beast remained near them, calm, watchful, and protective. The mother realized that this creature, once a symbol of fear, had become a living reminder of what humans were capable of. Even the aliens, powerful and advanced, had to recognize that strength could take many forms, and that humans, in their resilience and courage, had a power that could not be measured by technology or aggression alone. And in that moment, surrounded by aliens, strange technology, and the immense presence of the war beast, the mother understood a truth that had been with humans for centuries. Courage, trust, and heart were stronger than fear, stronger than weapons, stronger than any obstacle. She hugged her child tightly, feeling the small heartbeat against her chest, and whispered one last time, "We will survive. Together we are unstoppable." And as the war beast shifted slightly, leaning closer to protect them, she knew that humans had proven something extraordinary once again, not through force, but through the quiet, unshakable power of human spirit. The room was quiet now, the tension hanging in the air like a thick fog that refused to lift. The aliens had stepped back, their glowing eyes studying the mother, her child, and the war beast with a mix of awe, fear, and confusion. They had never seen anything like this before, a human and child inspiring loyalty and protection in a creature built for war and destruction. The mother held her child close, feeling his small hands clutch her tightly. She could sense his trust and quiet bravery, and it filled her with strength. The war beast, massive and powerful, stayed close to them, its eyes glowing softly. It had become their shield, a guardian whose presence alone kept the aliens at bay. The mother realized that their survival depended not just on the creature, but on their own courage and composure. Fear could undo everything, but calm and confidence could carry them through even the most impossible situations. The aliens, frustrated by their inability to control the creature, began to murmur among themselves. Their voices were sharp and urgent, filled with confusion. Some gestured toward the war beast, others toward the humans, trying to decipher the inexplicable bond that had formed. The mother noticed that even those who had seemed the most confident before were now hesitant, almost afraid. They had underestimated humans, and they were paying the price. She whispered softly to her child, "Stay close. Don't be afraid. We are stronger than they think." The child nodded, resting his head against her shoulder, feeling the warmth of her presence and the quiet strength that radiated from the war beast. For the first time in hours, there was a small sense of calm, a feeling that maybe, just maybe, they could make it through. Suddenly, one of the older aliens stepped forward, moving cautiously but with a deliberate calm. The war beast's massive head tilted slightly, glowing eyes fixed on the newcomer. It growled softly, low and warning, but it did not attack. The mother realized that this alien, like the others, was beginning to understand the human's unique influence. They could not command the creature, they could only observe. The alien paused at the edge of the protective circle, then spoke in a tone that carried authority. The mother did not understand the words, but she could feel their meaning. In the way the creature's body shifted, it was listening, responding, but not aggressively. The war beast had chosen to protect the humans, and it would not be swayed. The mother held her child tighter and whispered, "See? He won't hurt us. We are safe because of him." The child's small fingers touched the war beast gently, and the creature exhaled softly, almost as if acknowledging the gesture. It was a moment of connection, a reminder that humans, even small and fragile, could inspire loyalty and trust in ways that no alien or technology could replicate. The aliens began to step back slowly, realizing that they could not force the situation. They had assumed humans were weak and controllable, but that assumption had been shattered. Every gesture, every calm word, every small act of courage had convinced the war beast to protect them. It was a lesson that the aliens had never learned before. Strength did not always come from size, weapons, or technology. Sometimes it came from heart, courage, and presence. The mother whispered to her child again, "We have to stay calm, but soon we will be free. We just have to trust him." The child nodded, his eyes wide with wonder as he looked at the war beast. The creature rumbled softly, moving to position itself between them and the aliens, a silent guardian. The mother realized that they had survived, not by luck, but by inspiring trust and connection in a being far stronger than themselves. Minutes passed like hours. The aliens, growing frustrated, began to retreat further. They communicated with each other urgently, but it was clear they were considering leaving the humans. And the war beast alone. Their commands had failed repeatedly, and they were beginning to understand that humans had a power they could not control or predict. The mother held her child tightly, feeling the small body relax slightly against hers. She whispered, "We are stronger than they think. We always have been." The child looked up at her, trusting her completely, and she felt a surge of pride. Even in the middle of danger, they had remained calm, brave, and connected. The war beast, sensing their determination, shifted closer, its massive body forming an unbreakable shield. Then something extraordinary happened. One of the aliens, the oldest and wisest looking among them, stepped forward cautiously. Unlike the others, this one did not move with aggression or anger. Instead, it moved slowly, almost reverently, toward the humans and the creature. The mother could see that it was trying to understand, not control. Its gestures were deliberate, calm, and filled with curiosity. The war beast growled softly, but did not attack. It remained between the humans and the alien, protective yet composed. The mother whispered to her child, "Stay calm. Watch him, but don't be afraid." The child nodded, feeling the quiet strength of both his mother and the creature. It was a moment of trust, understanding, and connection that transcended fear. The alien reached the edge of the protective circle and paused. Then it spoke again. In a measured tone, pointing toward the humans and the war beast. The mother did not understand the words, but she felt their significance. The aliens were beginning to recognize the humans' power, not in weapons, not in numbers, but in courage, heart, and presence. The war beast shifted slightly, leaning closer to the humans, a clear indication that it would not allow harm to come to them. The mother hugged her child tightly and whispered, "We are safe. He is protecting us." The child smiled faintly, feeling the warmth and safety of both his mother and the creature. For the first time in hours, there was a sense of calm, a moment where survival felt possible. The aliens began to step back further. Their energy devices remained inactive, and their gestures became less urgent. It was clear that they had realized humans could not be controlled in the way they had expected. The mother held her child close, whispering, "See, even they are learning. We have strength they cannot take away." The child's small hands rested against hers, and she felt a quiet pride in his courage. The war beast rumbled softly, nudging them gently as if to reassure them. The mother realized that this creature, once a symbol of fear and destruction, had become their protector, their guardian, and in a strange way, their friend. The aliens, watching from a distance, could only observe, trying to understand how. Humans had achieved something no other species could. Minutes passed, and the mother realized that the moment of freedom was approaching. The aliens, now fully aware of the humans' influence over the war beast, began to retreat further. Their glowing eyes flicked back and forth between the humans and the creature, a mix of awe and disbelief on their faces. The mother whispered to her child, "We are going to be free. Trust him, and we will be safe." The child nodded, feeling a sense of hope that had been absent for so long. The war beast, sensing the shift in the aliens' behavior, moved slightly to guide them toward the exit. Its massive claws scraped the floor, a sound that was both terrifying and comforting. The mother followed, holding her child tightly, feeling the quiet strength of the creature as it led them forward. Finally, the aliens stepped back completely. They had realized that humans could not be controlled, that the war beast would not harm them, and that their presence alone had inspired loyalty and protection in a being far stronger than themselves. The mother whispered softly, "We did it. We are going to be okay." The child smiled faintly, feeling the truth in her words. The war beast continued to guide them, moving with precision and care. The mother realized that they had survived not by weapons, not by cunning, but by courage, heart, and the quiet strength that humans always carried within them. Even in the middle of an alien world, they had proven that resilience and connection could overcome fear and power. As they reached the edge of the chamber, the mother looked back one last time. The aliens watched from a distance, still trying to understand, but powerless to interfere. The war beast rumbled softly, a sound that felt like a farewell and a promise of protection. The mother hugged her child tightly, feeling the warmth and safety of the moment. She whispered, "We made it. Together, we are unstoppable." The child looked up at her, eyes wide with wonder, and smiled. The war beast shifted slightly, lowering its massive head near them, as if acknowledging their courage. In that moment, humans had changed everything. They had survived against impossible odds, inspired loyalty in a creature of unimaginable power, and astonished the aliens who had underestimated them. And in that quiet moment, the mother realized something profound. Humans were not just fragile beings to be controlled. They had courage, heart, and a quiet strength that could inspire trust, loyalty, and protection in even the most fearsome creatures. They had survived again, not through force, not through technology, but through presence, empathy, and the unbreakable bond between mother and child. The war beast stood near them, calm, watchful, and protective. The mother held her child, feeling the small heartbeat against her chest, and whispered one final time, "We are safe. We are stronger than they ever, and together we can face anything." And in that moment, humans had proven something extraordinary. Against fear, against power, against impossible odds, they had survived. Not by weapons or force, but through courage, trust, and heart. And the aliens, the W,